Chapter 2, Anti-School. This is not school, this is anti-school. If school and this place ever came together, there would be an explosion that would destroy the entire universe. How do I know that it's anti-school? School is a fun place, and this place is torture. School is for learning, and this place is for becoming stupid. This place doesn't even have a library. And who ever heard of a school without a library? I'm sitting in the middle of third period of anti-school in anti-math class, listening to Mrs. Moonface go over problem sets. Here is what she is saying. The coefficient of a multiplied by the divisor of c yields the identity of the variable. Here is what she's really saying. I do not wish to be Mrs. Moonface, and I hate algebra as much as you do. I really wish to be a Hollywood movie star, and Mrs. Moonface, you will never be a Hollywood star. You could assign 16,000 pages of algebra homework, and you would not become a Hollywood star. You are Mrs. Moonface, named after the lunar surface by me for obvious reasons that have to do with the color of your skin and the roundness of your chin. And I am John, named after a toilet by my father for reasons that are not so obvious. He could have called me kitchen. He could have called me living room. He named me John. Next to me is Billy Beezer, whose name is really Billy Beanman, but who I have rechristened Beezer on account of his nose, which is 3 times larger than seems natural, and which I have nicknamed Beeman's Beezer. He could be an aardvark, which is a kind of anteater that lives in the front of the dictionary. He could be a sloth, which is a tailless animal that eats, sleeps, and travels upside down. But he is neither an aardvark nor sloth. He is Billy Beezer, my friend, who is not a friend. He is not a friend because we are both in love with the same girl. Her name is Glory Hallelujah, and she is the ugliest girl in our entire school. She is so ugly, her mirror tries not to look back at her in the morning. Her hair is so greasy that lice ice skate on it. She is also the stupidest girl in our anti-school. She is so stupid that she might actually like me. Okay, I'll give you the truth, because it's important. Her name is not Glory Hallelujah, but Gloria. She is not ugly at all. In fact, she's the most beautiful girl in our entire school. She is also smart as a whip, whatever that means. I just pretend that she is ugly because I am thinking of asking her out on a date. And when she says no, I want to be able to tell myself that I didn't really want to go out with her anyway, because she is so ugly. Billy Beezer is also thinking of asking her out on a date, but he is too self-conscious about his long Beezer to ever actually do it. John, Mrs. Moonface, says, "Can you tell me the lowest prime number that is also a factor of 48? No, Mrs. Moonface, I cannot tell you a lot of true things, but I cannot tell you that. I can tell you a lot of true things, but I cannot tell you that. I can, for example, tell you exactly the way Glory Hallelujah's ankles cross at this very second, right on top of her left, with her white socks stretched up taut almost to her knees. I can tell you that Billy Beezer is smart not to ask her out on a date, because she would laugh at him, whereas she would never laugh at me, even if she said no, which she will never say, because I will never get the courage to ask her. John, are you thinking? Are your wheels turning? I can also tell you, Miss Moonface, about this African tribe I was reading about in the National Geographic called Lashasa Palula, who, when they are in their homes, walk on their hands so that they will not leave footprints in their house. No, that's a lie. There is no such tribe. But it's not a bad idea. The man who is not my father whooped me last night for leaving mud tracks across the kitchen that is not a kitchen. It is not a kitchen because it can not produce a good meal. Nothing resembling edible food has ever been prepared there. Surely, if it were a kitchen, something good to eat would eventually come out of it. That is the definition of a kitchen. It must be a bedroom or a bathroom masquerading as a kitchen. This is the problem with my house. None of the rooms are what they seem. My bedroom, for example, is not a bedroom because I cannot sleep in it. I suspect it is a closet because it is so small. John, we can't wait forever. Anyway, Mrs. Moonface, I was crossing the kitchen that is not a kitchen when the man who is not my father grabbed me so hard his fingers dug into my shoulder and he shouted, "Look what the hell you're doing!" And I looked down. There were 4 or 5 muddy footprints on the linoleum floor, and by coincidence, bad luck, they happened to be about the same size as my feet. Now, if I were Lashasa Palula, they would never have been there, because I would have been walking on my hands. But since I am who I am, a person you don't know and will never know, they were there, and I got whooped. A whop is a slap to the arms or body, and whops hurt badly enough, but whoop is a hard smack to the back of the head that makes your eyes see red and yellow and makes your ears ring. So the man who is not my father said, "I guess you think twice about tracking mud through the house again." Now, if I were Lashasa Palulu, I would probably have kicked him in the nose, because one advantage of walking on your hands is that it leaves your feet free for combat. But since I was not born into that tribe, that is not a tribe, and all I could do was start to cry, because the whop hurt so much. "Go ahead and cry," the man who is not my father said. "You make me sick." So I cried, because making him sick seemed to be the only way I could harm him, and frankly, because I couldn't stop myself. It hurts to cry like that when you don't want to do it in front of someone you hate. Every tear burns. "Look at you," the man who is not my father said. "Just look at you. You'll never be a man. Quit blubbering." I said, "Quit it," and he whopped me again, even harder. "John," Mrs. Moonface asked, "are you with us? Are you in the Milky Way galaxy? We're running out of time." Mrs. Moonface obviously cannot answer. I can obviously not answer your question because my ears are still ringing from the 2 whops. So why don't you select another member of the studio audience? The man with the hat or the woman with the false teeth, perhaps? "John, do you even hear me? Are you not well?" Billy Beezer gives me a hard elbow to the ribs. "Doofus, just say you don't know. You're making an idiot of yourself." But thankfully at that moment, I am rescued by Glory Hallelujah, who raises her hand and at the same time calls out, the correct answer to Mrs. Moonface's question without any hesitation, thereby saving me from eternal doofusness. "That's correct," Mrs. Moonface says with an approving look to Glory Hallelujah. Glory Hallelujah gives no obvious sign that she knows she has saved my life. She doesn't look at me, she doesn't say anything to me, but what she does next is brush her blonde hair off her neck with her left hand, which can only be a secret signal to me. I scratch my right ear, which is the secret answering signal of gratitude. That is when I decide that I will ask her out on a date.